Good morning, everyone. I know I'm a minute late. I'm very much sorry. I'm making some adjustments to my glasses were dirty. Had to clean them. Took me longer than I thought. Good morning, everyone. It is a new day. It's new every morning. Glad to have you along. It is Christmas Eve, and I'm excited to be here with you. I got some great stories for you today. I just love this season, and it's just a great time to be alive. I always love Christmas. I love Christmas a lot, and I'm going to enjoy it. I've had a busy December, but it's starting to slow down on purpose because I've got to slow it down because it's Christmas. I have to enjoy this season, and I'm going to. And so I hope you are too. This is podcast 45. That means we have 5 more before we're probably going to have some changes. We'll see. I'm open to ideas, so feel free to share those with me either on here in public or at a private message as far as the content you'd like. I'm thinking about maybe not doing it Monday through Friday every day, but maybe a couple times a week, maybe every Monday and Friday. Coming out of the weekend and going into the weekend, that kind of thing. I'm not sure yet. I've got some other content I want to do that I'm going to be putting on YouTube. You'll hear about that as time goes by. Hope you're having a good week. It is Friday. I mean, it's almost Friday. It feels like Friday, doesn't it? At least it does to me, because my week is over as far as work goes and things like that. But it is Wednesday. It is Christmas Eve. I'm excited about Christmas. Hope you are too. Let's get started. My first story is about the weather. I don't normally do weather stories, and this is going to be a really short one. But there is a record-breaking heat coming across the country, up to 35 degrees above normal, and it's expected to hit a large part of the United States just in time for Christmas. So sorry about that if you wanted snow. Now, there will still be snow some areas, of course, because it's be so cold that they'll get snow, but not in central West Virginia. It looks like a cloudy, kind of overcast day here. It's pretty warm. I think it's in the 50s. May get some rain today, I don't know. But anyway, that's the situation here. That is the weather report. Let's move on. Third quarter of the U.S. economy grew by the fastest annual rate in 2 years, according to the government data, which means the economy is growing, as we kind of already knew, but I thought I'd pass that on just in case the news that you listen to doesn't tell you the positive economic forecast. It is possible, based on where you get your news, it could happen, right? I mean, it could happen. There could be someone that kind of decides not to use the positive stories for whatever reason. That's not us. We're about positive. I am in rare form today. I was scurrying around right before I came on, trying to get everything done. I don't see any comments yet. I hope I'm on there. I hope I'm live. I hope I'm on live on the right place. Nobody said anything. Good morning, morning warriors. Are you out there? Say good morning if you are, and if you're not, it's because it's Christmas Eve and you're too busy to watch this thing at 7:30, and I understand. I was almost too busy to be on here at 7:30, so I can understand if you're too busy to get on here at 7:30. But hopefully sometime throughout the day, as you slow down, as you're wrapping presents, as you're fixing food, or preparing for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, sometime you'll click that little button and listen to this wonderful podcast. So anyway, let's continue on. More than 122 million travelers are hitting the roads and skies between December 20th and January 1st. Okay, that's about a 2.2% increase from the record from last year. So people just continue to move around. Now, speaking of the weather, and I actually do have another little bit of weather story. 14 states, 14, have a high chance of a white Christmas. Now, what is defined as a white Christmas? It's defined as at least 1 inch of snow on the ground by 7 a.m. on Christmas. That's how they define it. And there's 14 states, which is not very many when you think about it, considering there's 50 of us. Now, I'm pretty sure Hawaii doesn't get any, so 49 of us. I'm sure that there's some southern states that don't already affiliated. But it's only 14 states. I'm really afraid that West Virginia isn't one of them. Although in the higher elevations, who knows? But anyway, those 14 states can't have a white Christmas, and white Christmases are pretty cool. Now, I got just some random statistics. Americans consume about 240 million cups of creamy nutmeg spiced eggnog each year. 240 million cups. I'm not one of those people. I like a lot of things. I'm not a big fan of eggnog. And you may be, and that's wonderful. That means you fit into that 240 million. Don't miss your cup this year if you like eggnog, especially nutmeg spiced eggnog. Do not miss your cup or two or three, and then you'll be counted in the 240 million people that have a cup. Now, nearly 1/3 of all charitable giving happens in December. I mean, December is the biggest thing and even though it's the whole month, 1/3 of it, 10% occurs in the final 3 days. Now think about it for a minute. The charitable contributions in December are 1/3 of the whole year, and 10% of that occurs in the final 3 days. Why is that? Well, my suggestion is that people get Christmas gifts they don't want, so they give them away in the final 3 days of the year. I mean, after all, that is after Christmas, right? They're not charitably giving the final 3 days of the year as Christmas gifts because, it's already passed. So anyway, that's kind of, after Christmas, the final 3 days. So, people do get Christmas gifts they don't want. And you don't want to hurt people's feelings. So maybe people give them to charity. That's good. Give them to charity if you don't want them. I think that's a good choice. So then last but not least, as far as this stuff is concerned, Christmas-wise, there's Santa. Okay? Now, I got some statistics on Santa. It was a hard calculation. We worked overnight to get all these statistics, but to reach an estimated 238 million homes worldwide in 34 hours, which, counts the clock turning, so you actually have more than 24 hours. He must visit 7 million homes per hour. That's 116,667 per minute. That's 116,667 homes per minute, or 1,944 homes per second to get to all the homes in those 34 hours. Man, he's a fast-moving dude. That's all I got to say about that. I've been in an interestingly rare form today. I've been really enjoying this. I hope you guys are. And now I want to take you to probably the most famous 100-acre woods in history. A.A. Milne published his first Winnie the Pooh book nearly 100 years ago. And that's the reason we're talking about it today. And it's, after all, Christmas. And, Christmas and Winnie the Pooh, while they're not joined at the hip, they are kind of, popular together. Now, the stories of adventure of the 100-acre woods would be a fixture, as we know, in childhood homes for childhoods for decades. I mean, everybody knows, well, I shouldn't say everybody, most people that's listening to this are familiar with Winnie the Pooh. I would suggest all, but also final. So we'll say most. Now, I got a little history on Winnie the Pooh, which I didn't know some of this. Maybe you do. That's okay. It's okay to be more knowledgeable than me at times. All right? It's all right. It can happen. Now, Pooh was inspired by a real black bear named Winnie. And he was rescued as an orphan cub in Canada by a soldier during World War II, a long time ago, and later transferred to London, to a London zoo. Okay? Now, Winnie, she became a favorite among visiting kids, including Milne's young son, named Christopher Robin, of course, who changed the name of his teddy bear. He was so inspired by Winnie the real black bear, okay, at the zoo, that he went home and changed the name of his teddy bear to Winnie the Pooh. That's where Winnie the Pooh came from. Christopher Robin named his teddy bear, which I did not know, incidentally, and you maybe that you did. Now, the stuffed animal, Winnie the Pooh, sat in Christopher Robin's nursery. Okay, I mean, obviously, he was a young child. He had a nursery, and he had Winnie the Pooh there. But Winnie the Pooh wasn't alone. Maybe you'll recognize some of the other, stuffed animals there. He had a pig named Piglet. Eeyore was there, and Tigger was there. All four of them were there in the nursery with Christopher Robin. Now, his novelist father drew inspiration from obviously the toys, and introduced the character of Winnie the Pooh in 1924 children's book. Actually, originally it was in a poetry book. When we were very young, that was the name of it, and it was illustrated by Ernest Shepard. Now, the following year, Pooh made an appearance in a story called The Wrong Sort of Bees. That was featured in the 1925 Christmas Eve edition of the London Evening News. Then in October 14th, 2026, the next year, Mill and Shepard published Winnie the Pooh, a book comprised entirely of bear stories. 1926, and the rest is history. So that's your Winnie the Pooh story. That's going back in history. I hope you like that. I certainly learned some about that because I had no idea really where Winnie came from and how he got his name. Christopher Robin named him the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. Okay, so I have one last story, and it's not really a story. I gleaned this information from somebody I read this week. I think it was Jensen Franklin. So I hope you like this story. I really shouldn't call it a story. It's just some information about this time of season. And it struck me as important. And so I want to share it with you today as the final thing I share before Christmas. Now, this is not exact quotes. I've changed a little bit of this to fit what I want to say. But it's the basis of his story. Every Christmas brings the same question. What do you want? Now, we may ask, children, our friends, family, who knows who you may ask that to. But people are always asking, what do you want? Yet the first Christmas answered a deeper question. What do you really need? Now, the angel, the famous angel of the first Christmas, did not announce gifts, decorations, or traditions. It announced the Savior. It was announcing the Christ child. Now, many people missed the first Christmas that were there, that had an opportunity. The innkeeper obviously missed it. If the innkeeper had any idea what was going on, he would have said, you know what, I'll throw somebody out in one of the rooms I have to. You can sleep in my room, but yes, you can come in the inn and stay. But he didn't do that because he missed it. The politicians obviously missed it. They didn't understand what was going on, including the king. The religious leaders missed it. They had been studying the coming of Christ their entire life. Their whole study was about this coming Messiah, but they didn't see it. They missed it. Except for the three wise men, which weren't even a part of the religious sect of that time in that area. They were from a faraway land in a different sect. And it's still possible today to be surrounded with Christmas as we are and still miss Christ. The only people who truly experienced that first Christmas were the ones who chose to seek him. The angel said, and I quote, "You will find the baby. You will find the baby." We should always seek after Jesus. The shepherds said, and I quote, "Let's go and see." They were seeking, but seeking is always a choice. You choose to seek something. Now, the first gift God offers you this Christmas is forgiveness. A Savior was born because you needed saving. You know, the Savior, you know, that's where the name comes from. Saving, we needed saved. God is not angry. You know, he's not angry with me. He's not angry with you. But he reached out to us. He did not want to remind us of our past. He didn't want to erase it. He just didn't want to remind us of it. If your greatest need has been information, God would have sent a teacher. He didn't send a teacher. Information is not what you need. If it had been money, he would have sent a provider, but he didn't send a provider. Your greatest need was for forgiveness. That's when he sent Jesus. Now, you can't save yourself. You know that. Trying harder will not rescue you. No, you know, only surrender will save you. When you stop pretending you have it all together, and I've done that in my life some, I don't know if you have or not, and admit you need salvation, you need him, I guess, then that's when salvation becomes real. You don't get good to get God. You get God, and then after you have God, he starts changing you. That's my experience, and I'm thinking that's your experience too. The second gift of Christmas is peace of mind. Now, many people look for peace in distractions and relationships, busyness or numbing the pain. But peace does not come from escaping life. It comes from being reconciled with God. Even in difficult times and difficult seasons of your life, his peace will settle your heart if you let it. Your fears try to raise up. His peace reminds you that the past has been forgiven, your presence is held in his arms, and your future is secure. Now, this time of year, there's going to be a lot of noise around Christmas. There always is. And there may be emotions that you don't understand. That's okay. Sometimes the noise will sound like freedom. Freedom, you know, freedom for you can be just as simple as be able to smile again. I don't know your situation. Breathe again, maybe. You know, kind of live life without fear. What a wonderful idea. Live life without fear. So this Christmas, seek gives the last. Forgiveness, peace, freedom. You know, they're out there waiting for you if you don't have them. So all you have to do is go get them. So with that, have a Merry, Merry Christmas. I'll be back Monday, taking off Christmas the day after. Enjoy it with your family, your friends. Really understand the season that you're in. And I will see you bright and early Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. Be blessed, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.